At the age of 14, when I hit puberty, my body did a major change. I gained weight, my hips became very round. I started feeling like this hourglass figure. It was very traumatizing. It was very scary. I've never had a problem with my body identifying as through my gender male. I was always very happy to be a male. But at this point, I felt that my body was betraying me because it was being feminized. No one else seemed to look like me.
Hey, you've reached Helen. I can't get to the phone right now, but if you leave me a message, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. May the beep be with you.
I just called to say I love you. Oh, I just called to say how much I care. I just called to say I love you, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart.
I want you to know that you are more than a curiosity to me. I want you to know that I'm sorry if I've made you my puppet, and I'm sorry about this microscope and its unrelenting gaze. You are the exception to everything you're expected to be, but all this time I've been too immersed in you to notice. So now that you've come into focus, I'm sorry if I can't look away. What do you mean?
Anyway, go ahead.
I'll ask you questions and then you answer them in English or in Spanish, whatever feels natural. And we can decide. You tell me what you want and what you don't want.
Okay. Let's just do it now. Okay?
Okay. So can you introduce yourself? Say your name, why you're here. Just give me a little introduction.
Okay. The name that existed on my birth certificate was Francisco Salvador Burgueño Herrera. I was born in Tijuana in 1952. We are now in Mexico City, and it is 2018. We are being hosted by my very good friend, Javier Yepes. Javier Yepes, I met in the mid-70s. I met him through a boyfriend that I had at the time in Mexico City. I was alone and I was studying theater, and like I said, it was the first time in my life in which I was independent from my family, and that's where I met Javier. After breaking up with this guy, my friendship with all the people that he introduced me to within that circle, I continued. That whole group of friends, they were all very queeny. They gave each other, feminine names. Like people like Mario, who was Fragancia, Miguel Ángel de la Cueva, who was Angélica, Javier was Laurita Sunshine. They were very, very solid friends. It was a fun group of people. Oh my God, I had so much fun with them. So much fun with them. Mira esta foto, hija, para que veas a tu padre. And that'll tell you a lot about this. Look at that photo. Yo con mi grupo de amigas en México. Y esta pose también me mata, ¿eh? Yo con Marcos enseñándole
los jeroglíficos.
Mira, dime por favor esa pose. Esos zapatos, esos pantalones, esas caderas. Most of those friends died of AIDS. And Javier is one of the very few that is left from that circle of friends. There's about 2 or 3 out of a group of 10s, 20s of people.
Para tus cámaras.
Yo tenía una flexibilidad tan increíble.
Sí, me acuerdo que bailabas.
Yo tenía mucha flexibilidad y ahora con la edad, en la clase de yoga, sufro y reconozco
Caray, es que ya no puede.
Es lo que te digo, esa
Pues
foto
yo,
donde estoy tocando
veme
el
a
piso,
mí.
mírame.
Sí.
Y las patas las tengo rectas, derechitas y las manos están tocando el piso. Esa flexibilidad de la espalda yo ya no la tengo.
Pero también han pasado
Pero poco a
40 años, oye, pues ¿qué quieres?
Ay. Pero por lo menos tocar el
Ay,
piso.
no, yo no puedo hacer eso.
Qué horror la edad.
La edad.
Traicionera la edad.
What do you mean earlier when you said, eso es mi México?
You know, where everything you're seeing is like so authentic and real and brutal and honest and everyday, you know, hubbub. So ese es mi Mexico, no matter what you're seeing at the moment, whether it's a merolico on the street selling you something or a child selling you candies. In el metro y everywhere we were walking and have been walking, I feel like I was still in the 70s. That's what the first taxi driver and I were talking about the essence of the city being the same.
Which is like what? What's the essence of the city?
The people, the way we carry ourselves, our interactions, our habits, customs of a daily life in a big city like this. It's still the same. That's all really the same. And you would think that almost 40 years ago, some of the things would have changed, right? But they're not. They're exactly the same. Exactly the same. The everyday hustle and bustle of the city is the same.
I would not know.
You would not know.
I was hungry when I got to Mexico. Tortas, pozole, paletas de pistacho, el tianguis, el carnicero, el mariachi de Xochimilco, I devoured them all, hoping to fill the emptiness in my stomach. The country made me greedy, but it's hard not to steal when everything sparkles. I wanted to be blinded by Mexico's colors and somewhere in the flare of its light catch a shadow of myself. But Mexico was not what I expected. I didn't find myself or feel like I'd come home. I was lost.
You were so naive and innocent, even when we had that issue about the subway, where you got really incensed because I said you can't dress like that on the subway. And because you are who you are in this country and you fight for those rights, you got very, very offended about not wearing a mini skirt
Can I
finish? On the subway, because as I told you then, I said, just look at the women on the subway, dress like them. There was nobody wearing a skirt. Everyone was wearing pants, and because that's the way the culture is right now.
To me,
in Mexico.
I guess that again, that was very frustrating to me. One, because
You're in a different world.
I know I'm in a different world. That was frustrating to me that if I was even walking out with my skirt down to my knees, which was not a mini skirt, and my shoulders completely covered, I had a t-shirt on underneath my dress. Like I felt like I was covered. But at the end of the day, like that does suck that my behavior has to change rather than other people's behavior.
Well, don't you think that plays very well into the theme of machista?
Yeah.
El machismo and the attitude.
Identifica machista. Que es más importante el hombre que la mujer. Ese es el machismo.
Okay.
No hay igualdad. Es más importante el hombre que la mujer. Así es un machista.
Tanto el hombre como la mujer creen firmemente en la superioridad del hombre en muchos aspectos.
Porque las mismas mujeres como que son machistas. En un país que es 100% machista, porque la mujer en una casa no permite que el hijo hombre lave los trastes. Dicen la señora, no, que lo haga tu hermana, porque es mujer.
Un hombre debe aparecer como el jefe de la casa.
Y las mujeres, sobre todo mujeres ricas, son machistas, porque tienen su marido que las mantiene y que les da muchos millones para que gasten joyas, lo que quieren.
That also fits into the machismo thing, which I learned when I was in Mexico City, how the women use the manhood of the Mexican man And Javier enlightened me in the fact that, like that women are machistas. I also learned that machismo is not only asignated to the males, females, Mexican females play a lot of role in sustaining and upholding that machista culture.
It's funny that you say that, because as I was watching some of the editing, like in multiple interviews, you keep coming back to that point, and I wonder why you do. Because I think
because he mentioned it.
Right, he mentioned it, and
he talked about it.
With,
and I didn't grow up in a household with a mother and a father and the roles that they had to play within that cultural, social structure. So he did.
Y entonces las mismas madres, como se sienten protegidas por los hombres, pues ¿qué les queda? Pues ser machistas. Entonces yo digo que es más bien la sociedad que las leyes.
Mexican man, certainly in my generation, went out and earned the bread, the food to sustain the house. Certainly they didn't expect their wife, their spouse, su mujer, their woman. How more machista can you get? Mi mujer. That's how they refer to as their wife. Mi mujer, my woman. I got a different vibe about what machismo is, because females,
as a female in a male garment,
in an all-female household,
female bodies too.
Females,
as a female,
all-female,
female bodies too.
Females,
as a female,
all-female
bodies too.
Females,
as a female,
all-female,
female bodies too. I love females.
Because I remember the first time I read about like machismo being sort of like perpetuated by the woman in the household, telling the sons like not to clean up and telling the women to like take care of their brothers in that way. And that to me was really eye-opening, because it's not something I'd ever seen or had personal experience with. But I felt like when you were, I don't know, and this isn't, I don't have beef or anything like that, but when I was listening to your interviews as I was like editing and looking through stuff and transcribing, it seemed like you were locking into that as like an explanation for machismo, whereas I see it more as like a result of sort of like internalized machismo, that these women are like, that it's such a big social phenomenon that they're perpetuating it without even like realizing that they're like complicit in their own like.
Yeah, and that's what I think Javier made me aware of, that I didn't realize how much the female partner in a Mexican household helps maintain that machista thing. They don't want to break down that barrier either.
I would argue that maybe it's not that they don't want to, but that they just like, it doesn't, another like reality doesn't even occur to them, or that reality isn't like
and that's
possible.
why they don't want to.
Toda mujer espera que su amante sea el más macho, el más fuerte, el más poderoso físicamente, el más guapo, el más valiente, más macho será.
Esto es la televisión sin cable. No hay mucho para escoger. Cox Cable le trae a su televisor la emoción de los 90.
How do you define your role within our family?
I've always said it. It's funny, in one of your baby books, in Selena's baby book, in the part where it asks you father's profession or career, what they do for work, I literally put homemaker, because that is exactly what I see myself. Even to this day, 25 years later in this marriage, I see myself as the homemaker. And it's evident. My wife goes off to work. I still get up in the morning, not because I have to, but because I feel this need to get up and make her a lunch to take to work on a daily basis. She comes home, I have dinner ready for her. I do the shopping. I do the laundry. I fold her clothes very nicely and put it in the drawers. I am the nurturer, the mother in the family.
El macho, el verdadero hombre según la cultura hispana, debe tener ciertas características para que se lo considere. Debe tener ciertas características para que se lo considere como tal y no como afeminado u hombre a medias. Las características... Dios mío. Mientras más grandes sean sus órganos sexuales y más activamente, diferenciándose de la mujer sentimental y afectiva por su frialdad, ¿cómo se dice esa palabra? Frialdad. Esta es la pregunta que de qué estábamos hablando ayer, como no me acuerdo cómo se decía, pero sí la palabra acceptance,
La aceptación.
la aceptación de tener un hijo gay, ¿es como una aceptación verdadera o como una
resignación? Es una resignación, yo estoy casi seguro. Gente preparada y todo no está preparada para vivir que su hijo sea gay. Aquí el problema es cuando la gente se enfrenta a su familia para decirles, mamá, soy gay, papá, soy gay. Es el mayor problema que se enfrenta a toda la gente gay en este país. Entonces hay papás que no les importa o que les gusta. Ay, pues qué padre, mijito, qué bueno. Tienen que aceptarlo por cariño, los aceptan. Y son muy pocos, como el caso de la mamá de Daniel Vives, o de tu caso, por ejemplo, así con esta niña, que los padres abiertamente aceptan, o en este caso los hijos abiertamente aceptan a la gente como es. Es muy raro en este país. Y entonces ya la misma gente y todo ya dice, es que es gay, ¿no? Que digamos es como más bonito en vez de decir es homosexual, y peor van a decir es maricón o es puto. O... Sí, pues ya es más feo, ¿no? Entonces la gente mejor dice es gay. Por ejemplo, mis sobrinos, chiquillos desde que eran niños, tenían ellos conceptualizado los que eran gays, porque decían, ay, es un maricón, o es un puto, no, eres un gay. Entonces así ellos mismos de niños clasificaban a los homosexuales en putos, maricones y gays.
¿Tú eras gay?
Yo era gay porque yo era bien educado, digamos, ¿no? Y los putos son los que andan en nacos, ¿no? Sí. Y los maricones son las jotitas, ¿no? Que hacen todo como mujeres. Y los gays son los que aparentan que no son homosexuales, pero lo son. ¿Qué es lo que se entiende aquí en general como gay?
Did you ever like officially come out to your family, or was it just sort of like
this is what I mean. I wish I had the freedom to be able. Do you think that when I was growing up and I had these doubts, these fears, these conflicts, that I would have loved to have had somebody listen to me? Just listen to me. Certainly in my culture, in my time, in my circumstances, it wasn't something you wanted really to confront or address. And I had no one to talk to about anything anyway, about nothing. It was all within me. All my conversations were within me. You know, at this late in life, this might be the only out of my mouth documentation of it, and maybe at some point, to some point, it might explain things.
It's explaining things to me?
That's the most important thing.
There's just all this like conflicting information.
Yeah.
That makes it so hard to find any sort of conclusion or a definition for anything. I feel like I don't even sometimes have like a path of like, this is where my thinking is going, because there's all this stuff.
Well, that's not
coming.
right.
It's hard. It's just like there's so much information.
And that's why I said earlier, you think too much. You overanalyze. That's a very objective and non-judgmental observation. You do, and I love that about you. That's what makes you so interesting as a creature of nature, because that inquisitiveness and that restlessness, esa inquietud, is what opens you up to so many people, you know, and that's just who you are, and the product of that, in getting there, maybe there's a lot of excess and leftover and creating a lot of dust, but you finally get to something that, you know, that's what it is. That's who you are. That's okay.
Yeah.
You have the curiosity to deal with honesty, and you have allowed me, you've freed me to not be hesitant about being truthful. And I value that so much because I grew up without knowing my mom or my dad in a really deep way. My father, forget about it. I could physically recognize it, but I couldn't tell you if he liked green, yellow, or pork, or chicken, or I know nothing about the man. I can't explain who I am and how I became what I am. Everything about my birth family has been left behind because it was just something that in all honesty, I never seemed to fit into. What I was able to create a situation that to me within my life makes sense and brings me joy and happiness, I'm done. I'm done.
First saved voice message.
Well, I know it's kinda late. I hope I didn't wake you. What I gotta say can't wait. I know you'd understand. 'Cause every time I tried to tell you, the words just came out wrong. So I'll have to say I love you in a song.